Today I'm joined by Michael Haddad, President of Capital Finance for Sterling National Bank, for the latest installment in ABL Advisors video series. Thanks for being here today, Michael.
Oh, you're welcome, Mike. My pleasure. It's been great to be here.
Thank you very much. With that, let's just start right in for our audience. The COVID-19 crisis has impacted businesses of all sizes. As a middle market lender with a national presence, how's your team been able to maintain a meaningful level of personal interactions with borrowers over the past few months?
It has been difficult. I will say that at the outset. The pandemic's affected not only the United States, but every region very, very differently. We're adapting to each region. So we treat our clients on the West Coast a little different than we do at our home base back east, and differently than we do in Florida or Texas, which have opened up, so to speak, a lot sooner. The key has been we've gone from a once a month, maybe phone call, once a quarter client visit, and now we are really doing what we're doing right here. We're Zooming everybody, we're teaming, and we're trying to keep that interaction. We found it very interesting, Mike, that during the PPP episodes, we really formed a closer bond with our clients, which was very different. Some of them, and I jokingly say this, didn't even know what a PDF was. Some of the older generation. Now they're all experts at high tech and technology, and when we tell them, oh, let's have a Zoom call and get on, they're the first ones. Yeah, let's do it. Let's set it up. And they talk about the day when we're going to get back together. So it's really helped. We're down to now literally once a week talks with our clients, and it's been received very, very well. So a pleasant side effect of this whole problem.
That's interesting because it almost seems as if in some ways this may have brought you a little bit closer to the client. Is that right?
It really is, Mike. And it has, and we're all very anxious, obviously, to visit clients. And we are now putting our corporate policy together to say how we could all do that safely, looking at local jurisdictions, looking at clients that want to visit us and us them. So
one of the many early outcomes of the crisis was that borrowers were drawing down on the ABL lines to to preserve liquidity. As we begin to reopen the country in various phases and the economy, what are borrowers most concerned about when working with their lender from your perspective? And has that changed from what they used to be worried about?
Well, they want us to be there. And I know that sounds a little off, but they want us to be there. Be there meaning you were a great bank, a great lender before all of this happened. Will you be there and help us through this? Will you be there when, quote, this ends to help us get out of this? So it all comes down to liquidity. We did have an immediate spike after this was announced, the lock-in and so forth, and some of the balances. But on the other hand, a lot of the ABL balances, and we have ABL in a few different groups, are now down 20 to 22 to 25%. And that sounds bad on one hand, but part of it is logical, Mike. It's if you're not open or your clients aren't open or your customers aren't open, there's nothing to buy. If there's nothing to buy, there's nothing in inventory. If there's no inventory, there's no receivables. And then you have no loan balances. So that's the bad part. The other part is PPP came along and put tremendous liquidity into our client base. So as a result, our bank balances in sterling are up 30, 40, 50%, and it's our clients' extra liquidity. So we're as strong a bank or stronger than we were before we went into this. We have ample liquidity, tremendous capitalization. So our clients now know we're here, we're gonna be here, and we look at everyone very customized. If a deal was doing well before it went into this problem, it's probably gonna come out, we'll treat it in a little bit of a different way than a deal that had problems before this started, and COVID may have exacerbated those. So it's a very customized look.
Okay, great, thank you. Now, obviously, the borrower's balance sheets and cash flow requirements have been impacted pretty heavily by the economic downturn. You have a credit underwriting team, and how are they working to preserve the underwriting standards now that we've seen collateral values have been impacted, cash flow requirements have changed since the crisis began? How are you working through this from their underwriting standards standpoint from your underwriting team?
Well, we'd like to think, and we are, ABL lenders. And ABL lenders are mainly collateral driven, collateral focused, and we live and die by our collateral. But as you just mentioned, there's an uncertainty about collateral values. Our field examiners, for the most part, can't go on site. Our appraisers, the same thing. That's just starting to open a little bit. So it's hard to verify values, pin them down. But again, now we have changed to cash flow. We're looking and saying cash is king. So a lot of our clients never heard of a 13-week cash flow or give us the next 6 months. Some don't have the tools for it. So we are helping them, we're disciplining them, we're shepherding them to that next step of, while collateral is a little nebulous right now, we're going to, again, make whatever accommodations we can, customize what we can, but it's all about cash flow. So show us your liquidity, show us what the effects were during this period, and again, we'll be there for you during this period. If you're at a problem state and you need another 90 days, another 120 days, well, that may lead to other discussions. There's a lot of people in the industry saying, we're in business and we're doing deals and we never left. That may be a little true, but there's a lot of fallen angels out there, Mike. And the fallen angels are the deals that are in our portfolios that we may want to leave our portfolios, and they're just not getting done. So we're starting to see a pickup in that activity, but credit will stay tight in that respect, doing the best of the best deals for a while.
Monitoring it very closely. Do you believe that you'll be in a position where you'll be able to start reviewing collateral values at any point in the near future?
We do. It's just starting to open up. We've talked to a few of the field exam firms and a couple of the bigger appraisers. Their folks are feeling a little more comfortable in certain areas and going back out to clients. There's only so much remote you can do, but you can't count inventory remotely. You can't look at a warehouse, remotely. A lot of us are very personal, very high-touch lenders in ABL. As we're doing right now, we like to look each other in the eye, but obviously physically, and say, is this a good deal? Can I trust the management team? Do I like the management team? And you lose that right now. So if your appraisers and field examiners can't give you that set of eyes, it makes it even that much more difficult. But as I said, it's just starting to open up, and we're coming out with our own travel policy. So we will, again, depending on the area and the jurisdiction and the client's comfort, start to go back to that personal side.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Now we'll go into the reopening of the country a little bit. As the country begins to reopen in various phases, what's your outlook for the middle market as we enter the second half of 2020? Do you think that there'll be a greater demand for ABL products as a result of the crisis as we go into the second half?
Well, right now, and then I'll talk about the third, fourth quarters. Right now, the non-regulated lenders are the king of the roost. They don't have the same guidelines we do. They don't have the same regulators. They have no regulators. They don't have the loan loss issues that we do. So their view of a good ABL deal is I don't want to say vastly different, but substantially different than ours right now. They can take those nebulous collateral values, maybe a break-even cash flow, whatever it is. They could look at a fallen angel and say, you know what? I know I'm feeling good about it. I could liquidate this deal. Where the regulated environment of which we're part of, we don't have that luxury right now. So you're seeing a lot of downgrades, even if they're COVID or non-COVID related. We still have to downgrade the same. We still have credit policy the same. But the good part about it, the optimistic part is we feel we'll start to see that break a little bit in the third quarter for the middle market. And then really in the fourth quarter, which is more probable, start to climb out of it. Hopefully the COVID issue is less of an issue or no issue at that point for some folks and all, but it depends on region again, Mike, and where it is. We're not as optimistic about the New York's issue, the New York region or the Northeast as we are about the Southwest and the Southeast. So we're going to focus there, put our resources in the areas we think are going to have the most play, and then follow the other areas. Lastly, come October, we're all doing the same thing, Mike, fixing budgets for next year. So how optimistic or not we're going to be for 2021 is really going to depend in the teams and the groups on how the July 1, the October 1 kind of opening, soft and then a little harder, happened and how fast it happened. And then I think will dictate we get into 2021. I don't see, Mike, any of us writing off the rest of the year. I think people are hopeful. They want to remain hopeful and then really come out the door and say, we're going to have a great 2021. That's the vibe we're getting in the industry.
Well, that's a very good positive note. And honestly, that's a great way for us to end the interview because it gives people an insight into what's going to be happening out there and what you foresee in the third and fourth quarter and how we might come out of the gate in 2021, I should say. So with that, Michael, I'm just going to end the interview and say thank you very much for being with us today. And thank you for sharing your thoughts with our audience. And we wish you and your team the best of luck for the rest of the year and next year, and that everyone stays safe and healthy out there.
Great, Mike. Thank you. Keep up the good work. You're a great organization, and thank you very much. Same to you and your team.
Thank you, Michael. Have a good day.